T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Let's get ready to sucker!
Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of slime. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me, yeah. Big time, big time, big time,
Big time.
running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. Got a smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Just running over with the dollar signs. Try and take it from me.
Big time.
Teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try and take it from me, from me, from me, from me.
Big time. Number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
And what's up, everybody? Whoa, wait a minute. We got to change the background up. We'll fix that in a second. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you alongside Michael McKenzie. We have Jeffrey Betos. We have the living legend himself, Mr. William. What's your middle name? We're going to go with a fake middle name. William Franklin McCartney. Then it's Paul Munson and Eric Bailey. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for no show yesterday, but the majority of our crew was out at the YSU baseball golf outing, the one that Kenny Lofton was. I almost said Kenny Powers. One Kenny Lofton was at.
Kenny Powers might have been there. He might have been there.
We thought it was. We thought it was going to be that way. Bruce Drennan was also there, so it was a really nice golf outing. Can't control the weather, but all things considered, a good time was had by all, I think, and we didn't do too bad. I was pretty excited about the outcome of it. Didn't win it, but we weren't far off the pace, so I was excited about it. What was your favorite part, Billy, yesterday?
Just hanging out, man. Just good to hang out with the boys. I think that was the best part. And then a lot of those, I mean, as you know, we know a lot of those guys too. So Coach Bertolini and Amel and Pletch and a lot of the Astro guys and a lot of the players that we know, and it was a fun time.
Coach Berto was just piping off of that tee, hitting the green every single time.
Nukes.
Just unbelievable. Like, it was like, hey, let's see how good you are. You know, and anybody who's ever seen me golf before knows there's an unorthodox stance that I use to try to play my slice. And I take it back. 2 times I hit it into the woods. And it's only when people are watching me that I can't do it. I'm terrible.
It felt like the Happy Gilmore scene, like when they're moving the houses out, because there was so much stuff on that hole. Just people were singing, and it was an Italian fest over there. Pizzas were being made, and there was just so many people around. And Berto just whack.
Yeah,
300 yards.
I'm all for, like, it was really cool. There was different things at every hole. Kind of one of the things that when we do our golf outing next year that I really want to implement. So much food, you could not move without getting food. I mean, it was unbelievable. They had Auntie Anne's pretzels. They had like brick fire pizza or oven fire, whatever they call it, oven fire pizza. I mean, they had so many things. It was so good. So if you ever have a chance to sign up for the YSU baseball golf outing, please do so. You will not be disappointed at all. At all. Gentlemen, it is National Thrift Shop Day. So the question that I want to know is, what is your best get from a thrift shop? And if you've ever been, I've only been to a thrift shop maybe once, twice in my life. But I got some good gets. EB, I know you're a thrift shop guy. What's your best get from a thrift shop?
Any T-shirt for under $1. I mean, that's just that's all it is. And the thrift shop makes me think of Macklemore. And
Poppin' tags.
Yeah, I got $20 in my pocket. Like that's all I think of when you say thrift shop. But no, any T-shirt under $1 is absolutely a steal. My favorite one was, I think I got it in Boardman or Salem, I don't know. But in high school, it was a St. Ed's T-shirt from like 1992.
So like the old school, like the ones that people want to wear now, but they'll pay $75 for it.
It was disgusting. It was like a mustard yellow, and it had green, so it just looked like mustard and relish, and it had an eagle somewhere. It was probably absolutely atrocious looking, but it was the comfiest shirt that you could ever imagine.
Love it. Paulie, how about you?
Ugly sweaters. That's the place to go to score a good ugly sweater for your ugly sweater parties in the Christmas season. You can always definitely find some ugly sweaters there. But what I've been looking for and I can't find, obviously because I don't wear, like, I have larger pants. I'm not a 32 or anything like that. But I want to find a pair of, like, pants that are like the 70s looking checkered pants. Like I had a pair of shorts and I wore them until they literally like fell off. Like they were holes in them, and I was finally told I had to get rid of them. I've been looking for a pair of pants. I find them online, but I'm not paying $125 for a pair of pants. So.
It's funny. I was showing Sarah last night. I want one of those like coats, those sport coats, so I can wear them to games. But I'm trying to get the red, white, and blue to mix it in with YSN. But you said they're like $300, so hard pass. Billy, how about you?
The last time I can remember, The Dark Knight was a big hit. And the Heath Ledger Joker, and it was around Halloween, and everybody in the world was dressing up as the Joker that year. And I went to the thrift store and got some things, man. Like the Joker in the jail cell scene when he's just sitting there, he goes, "I need my phone call." That was what I looked like without
you
him.
Dress up like the Joker.
The Joker.
That Joker scares me. I'm not gonna lie to you. That freaked me out.
Why
Jeffrey?
So serious.
I know.
Could you imagine William Franklin McCarthy going as the Joker in the nurse's outfit, though? Or like walking around with like a bucket.
I fully believe that out of Rob too.
Yeah, I used to have the laugh down.
Some those.
Why don't you get some leggings, Paul? That's what those look like.
Jeez. Well, don't buy those, bud.
I would love to see you in some leggings with like a longer shirt.
No.
Oh, you'll love it. Do it.
You'll be the belle of the ball.
I do not like tight-fitting outfits.
All right, Jeff. This has got to be good because I know you love thrift shops.
Actually, I hate thrift shopping. It's actually my mom. My mom got me actually 2 Callaway long sleeve pullovers. one time, like brand spanking new with the tag still on them, and he was like, "Hey, I just bought you these because they were like $5," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks, cool, thanks, mom." So I got like 2 cool Callaway pullovers.
Wow. And those are like 70, 80
They
bucks
were
a pop.
$75 with the tag still on them, and she's like, "They were $5 a piece, so I had to buy them for you."
And that's half your wardrobe.
Yeah,
Like you just doubled your wardrobe right there.
yeah. I don't have them anymore. They're lost.
Big Nuggies?
They're hanging from a flag.
They're hanging from a flagpole. I was just Paul. Same wavelength, dude. Big Nuggies, have you ever been to a thrift store?
No, I have not.
You know what it is?
Well, basically, where just a bunch of used clothes, you can get them for insanely cheap.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
it. Well, not just clothes, but like stuff too,
Yeah.
right?
Buy,
Stuff, yeah.
plates
Yeah, I got like
and
golf clubs and stuff from there.
You got your golf clubs from a thrift store?
I got a putter that was like $125. An old bullseye, like real slow, like throwback putter. There, it was like $125 on eBay.
Paul, you got some splaining to do?
Oh man, you know what? Yeah, because I don't really care. So most of us here have, girlfriends or wives, and you get in trouble for shit that you didn't even do. I got in trouble for a dream that she had that I was hanging out at Burlington Coat Factory.
Nothing wrong with Burlington.
And was like bitching at me. And she's like, "I'm so pissed." And I'm like, "At what?" She goes, "At you." I'm like, "What the hell did I do?" She goes, "In my dream, you were hanging out at Burlington Coat Factory with people." And I'm like, "The hell are you talking about? In your dream?" Yeah, so I guess I hang out at Burlington Coat Factory in her dreams. Like, and it's just, of course, Mardell had to go and say, "Buy shit from Burlington." I went, "Here it comes. I'm either going to see it in a text or this." I actually commented on Rob today on social media because he was talking about, like you screw up and do something that, you get in trouble for it, and how crazy ladies can be sometimes. And it was like,
Sometimes,
I'm like, I get in trouble for dream shit. Like, I didn't even do it for
sometimes,
real. In your dreams.
Why
I'm
would
so
anybody
factory.
hang out at a Burlington Coat Factory?
I got a suit from Burlington one time, full suit, suit
Yeah.
pants, suit jacket, whole thing for a
Yeah,
wedding.
but did you forget the undershirt?
I did not forget the undershirt at that wedding, and I didn't really need it. It was a black shirt anyway, so I didn't really need an undershirt for
Did
it.
you forget the card and the gift at that wedding too?
Yes, I did. I went with someone. I wasn't the one that was invited. So the
Dang
girl
Ted
came with
Jameson. Dang Ted Jameson, always stirring up
her.
the
Great guy,
pot.
I heard. Great guy.
Not as good as Bud Alfonso.
Speaking of, so I thought of this idea this morning. If we do a prime time this year, which I feel like we probably will, there's a
Probably
couple
every
big games.
Thursday. I don't know.
But how great would it be instead of Betos putting on the head, but if he went like Hulk Hogan-esque and ripped the shirt, and it had either his chest painted of who he wants to win,
Oh, I like
or-
that idea.
or just like maybe like a shirt of whoever he's picking, but like that's dramatic. So we don't need the head, Lee Corso can have that shit. But Betos, let's Betos this up a little bit.
Jeff, would
Rip
you
the
paint
shirt.
your chest every Thursday
No,
with your pick?
that means I have to shave my chest, and I'm not doing that. No.
No, you don't. There's no.
We'll just get some spray paint.
No, that is definitely not happening.
We can just paint your chest with Nair. Make it 2 birds with 1 stone.
No, I'm good.
We got to Betos this up somehow.
I will wear a T-shirt underneath and rip the top shirt off.
But then it costs us money every time, like, you have a T-shirt.
maybe we can get schools to donate a T-shirt.
Ah, there we go. There's about. I still like the chest hair with the giant giant U for Ursuline or whatever that is. That
I mean, like say he picks like the Tony Bears. That's naturally furry. He's good to go.
True.
It looks more realistic then.
we'll figure it out. I like that idea. I like the thought process. EB. That's dynamic. Mine isn't even me from a thrift shop. You know the best thrifty shopper I know? Brian Scott. Brian Scott. Now, I came in the other day and like there's just random things on my desk sometimes because when Brian goes to a thrift store or goes to a garage sale. So hang on one second while I get this.
Rogers.
Yeah, we're close enough.
Rogers is always good.
The other day I came in and there's just a tripod sitting on my desk and with an
Not a
open
small
box.
tripod either.
No, this thing is half my body size. Like this is at least a foot long tripod. But it's I mean this thing's huge. It goes up to like 6 feet tall, and he's just like, yeah, I found it at a garage sale, got it for $10.
You wouldn't be able to use that though if it was all the way extended out.
Not at South Range, but you can use it other places where they don't have 3-foot windows or 3-inch windows, I should say. But I now have 3 tripods. I have this monster, and then I have this tiny one that we have to use for South Range, and then we have like a regular one that I use everywhere else and put it on the tables. So Brian Scott, like he buys his tires at like thrift stores and like on discount. Like tires are not something I mess around with. Like I'm getting new tires. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm not gonna justify it with somebody else, with Joe Blow riding on 4 wheels, but he makes it work, man. He does it, and he does it in flying colors. So happy National Thrift Shop Day to all of you out there, whether you're getting free clothes or in some cases if you're hanging out at Burlington Coat Factories, enjoy your stay. Guys, it is Would You Rather, brought to you by our friends over at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Visit them today at bairdbrothers.com. The Would You Rather today I'm really interested in because I think it's going to spark a topic that we talk about a lot, but we don't ever get in depth on it, right? We go about a mile wide and 6 inches deep. Would you rather, again, brought to you by Baird Brothers, would you rather go 9-1 and lose to your rival in a football season, or go 1-9 and beat them? Nothing's guaranteed, no playoffs, no anything like that. But would you rather go win 90% of your games, whether it could be football? We're just using football as an example. Win 90% of your games and lose to your rival, or lose 90% of your games and beat them? We'll go McNuggies first, since you're still in the crux of it.
Yeah, this one's tough. I think I'm gonna go with 1-9. Only beating my rival. I know if you go 9-1, you're probably making the playoffs. But if that's not even guaranteed, I think I just take the 1 win over the rival, because the one team that you play during the regular season that you want bragging rights over is that rival. Like, for example, I go to Beaver Local, so obviously that would be East Liverpool. So having bragging rights over East Liverpool, even if I lose 90% of my games, they can't say anything because we beat them. That's just my thought process.
It's true. It's true. Jeffrey, how about you?
I would go 9-1 and lose to my rival. It happens plenty enough time at South Range the last, 3 years anyways, losing to Springfield. And I would go 9-1 and lose to my rival. I still make the playoffs.
No.
It's all right with me.
What if there's no playoffs? It's just you win 90% of your games, but lose to the team.
That's all right.
Okay.
That's all right. It's happened before to me. And roll it off my chin and move on. That's what you got to do.
Amo likes the bragging rights at 1-9. I'm really interested. I thought this would be like we went back and forth the other night. My wife's like 9-1, hands down. I'm like, but you don't beat the team that's your number one rival.
And
Billy, how about you?
The thing, how deep is that hate for the rival? Like that's got to be a big factor.
Ohio State, Michigan.
Okay,
well, it's different. That they live for that. I'm not saying I don't live for my rival, but
that's the point. No, that's the whole point of the question, Jeff.
Yeah, no, then if I'm Ohio State losing to Michigan, all right, move on. Who with me?
USC and
UCLA. Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
If that was that case, I would probably want to beat Notre Dame. Well,
so which side of the fence are you on there, Quinn?
I stay with my original fact. We can lose to Notre Dame. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Can Billy go?
Yeah, sorry, buddy.
To me, this is just real simple. I don't have a loser's mentality, so it's disgusting to think that you would want to go 1-9. I don't care who you lose to, or beat in that situation. I can't stand losing. Period. In general. So whether it's a loss to my rival hurts just the same as a loss to anybody else. Therefore, I'm going 9-1. Okay. To me, it's simple. Just win, baby. Just win. You play to win the game.
That's real interesting. Paulie?
Hey, I'm just going to hit ditto with the man right next to me over here because give me the 9 wins. Man, I'm a winner. 9-1, I'm making the playoffs if there is playoffs because 1 loss isn't keeping you out.
Don't, not true.
Not how it used to be.
Springfield went 9-1.
Southern Local. Southern Local did it a couple years ago.
They allowed
Well, now
16
there's
teams
40.
in now.
Now there's 40 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah,
so
the door's wide open.
Doesn't really
You can
matter
come on
now.
in. I mean, I could say the same thing. It was my sophomore year. We were 9-1. We lost to Springfield. We didn't make the playoffs, but they only took 4 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
I'm saying just in general, if no playoffs, the playoffs don't matter, right?
Worst case scenario, you're 9-1 and your rival's 9-1. So you both are 9-1 and they have the win over you, but whatever.
I'll get to my argument in a second because I think there's another side to this. EB?
This one's tough. I've tossed it back and forth, but naturally you play to win the game. And, you go in and I prepare for every game the same. And I'm going into, whether it's a rival or not, expecting to win. So I'm going to go 9-1. If it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards or whatever shakes out. But, I feel like if you go 1-9, then to me you've accepted losing, and you've accepted losing, and you're okay with just beating one person, and that's not what it is. Like I've been a part of 3 different
This is
rivals.
not the
Taos
Cleveland
team,
Browns.
I've been Towson, Columbiana, Latonia, Columbiana, Crestview, West Branch, Salem. Like that, there's some pretty big rivals right there. And each year you go in to win every single game, and if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. But I'm gonna go 9-1.
Shout out to Sigler, who says currently 9-1. We defeated Tropical Storm Fred. He's down in Florida right now, so make it home safe.
That question is you are being asked before the season starts. How do you want to have your season end? 1-9 or 9-1?
So let me ask you this: if you're a Division 7 and you somehow beat a Division 1, and that's your win on the season, somehow. And that win gets you – that win, now playoffs aside, that win qualifies you for the playoffs. You're obviously not going to make any T-shirts that say, playoffs with 1-9 on them. But if that rival is a Division 1 and you're Division 7, you're going to the show.
Okay, but on the flip side of that, you've lost 9 games to Division 7 schools and happen to beat that one Division 1, and you're going to the playoffs against other Division 7 schools that you've been your ass kicked all year. So yeah,
I'm taking because if we lost, because you could be 0-9, right, going into a game. And it's because typically your rival game, and it's not so much that way anymore. It used to be your rival game was the last game of the season. I'd be okay with a 1-9 beating my rival and having some momentum going into the next season, or maybe it shakes out and we get something somewhere.
Yeah, but that's different than what this question you stated, though.
But it's your rival. I want to beat my rival.
If I'm 0-9, yeah, I want to beat my rival.
Well, it doesn't matter where the 1 is, does it? If your rival.
I'm just saying how you presented it.
Yeah.
It was
and there's different ways to look at it. But my thing was I want to beat my rival. In high school, there's all these kids that come into the proms and these dances, homecomings from the rival school all the time. I don't want that cat walking in here and being like, "Yeah, nice game, loser." No.
What if you go 9-1 and win the state championship? My rival has nothing on me at that point.
That's not the question.
Now, adding the state championship in there, adding how far you go into the playoffs, that changes the complexity of the.
Yeah, I want to win
question.
a state championship over beating my rival. That's higher.
I'm just saying, what if that happens? You know what I mean?
If that happens, everybody's taking the one loss against their rival and they're putting a ring on their finger.
Yeah, and that's.
I want to beat
at
my
that point,
rival.
my rival has nothing.
I want to beat my rival. Like when we were in school, we wanted to beat Crestview and Columbiana, right? If we lost to Sebring, which we did in baseball, it didn't hurt as bad. But when you lose to Columbiana or you lose to Crestview, it stings. Like it is right to your heart. You don't. The food doesn't taste good. You know all of that stuff that they talk about. It just. But like you lose to Southern or you lose to a non-conference. Okay, I mean I want to win that game, but it doesn't hurt. You lose to your rival, guys, and that's a game. Listen, it stays with you well into the future. Like 18 years later, I am still thinking about the game we lost to Columbiana, the game we lost to Crestview, to schools like that. I don't remember the other games, to be honest with you.
So what do you do when, case in point, Columbiana? We have like 6 or 7 teams that consider us their rival. Not necessarily ours. Obviously, Palestine Columbiana is a big rival. That's an old rival. Latonia Columbiana, another big rival, and formerly known, the Crestview Columbiana rival. But also, like, generally, if you would ask Southern, who do they want to beat the most? Columbiana. Lisbon, Columbiana. I think
there's a difference between being the team to beat and having a rivalry.
But it's like they considered us their rival. We didn't necessarily consider them.
Southern considered you? No way.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, especially in the TCL days before Wellsville was in. That's
Southern versus Wellsville is the rivalry.
Yeah. I've always like I've never had that mindset. I guess like I understand where EB's coming from, but I mean, just in my head alone, it's whatever the school rivalry is. They basically have presented what the rivalry is in my mind. But there was teams that I hated and wanted to beat their ass, and normally did. So
I don't think it's a rivalry if the other team doesn't know. Like they sit there and be like, "Oh no, this is a rivalry," and Columbiana goes, "Huh? Like, what?" Like it took us we had to cash in all our air points to get to Southern.
Well, like now Columbiana Lisbon's a little bit of a rivalry, especially basketball because of the relation.
Well, that's
and
a little bit
also,
different.
Like same with the Southern Columbiana, that's kind of a rivalry because they're both from Columbiana, this and that. But I mean, what the hell is that noise?
What is that noise?
Billy's dog.
That's not snoring, dude. That's.
It sounds like somebody's moving boxes on the floor.
Yeah, there's a big ass tree getting cut down over here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Always during the show.
They're like, "Hey, 3:00."
let's put the tree down now, boss.
Well,
Guys,
sign
you
him
doing the show,
sign him
man.
up
He's
as
just-
a freaking sponsor, so we can at least give him a plug.
Franklin's on the air. That's. I mean, I it's hard to answer this one, is it not? Like there's a would you rather in this, but it's hard to answer because that other shoe drops. 1-9 is not pretty in any circumstance.
Better than 9-1. I would still pick it. I would still lose my rival. It's not hard to pick. I'm like Billy and Paul. I want to win games. We're going to try to win every game. If we lose to our rival, okay, great. Like it's just another game. We got something coming up next week.
I can't remember my record in my senior year in high school, but I do remember we beat Crestview and we beat Columbiana. I remember that. I can't tell you. I know we lost to Sebring because we always split with them. Doesn't matter.
7-3, and in baseball we were 25-2.
Well,
2-8.
Psycho.
2-8 in football season. Our 2 wins were Lisbon and Massillon Tesla. The only team in South Range history was my senior class to beat Massillon Tesla. I can tell we lost to Columbiana and Crestview and Springfield that year.
Did they make cars at Massillon?
No.
Oh. Crazy.
And one of Yeagley's only losing seasons.
Yeah.
2. He only has 2 losing seasons, 3-7 and 2-8.
Jeff was on both of them.
Nope. 3-7 was a long time ago, and our 2-8 year was his worst year.
It just, I mean, because we're gonna see some rivalry games here on Friday. Paul, you get to call one. I mean, South Range, from a South Range perspective, is it a successful season if you don't beat Springfield, especially given you didn't play last year?
Yeah, because I mean the year before, they had a chance to beat them. They didn't.
Right.
And they still made a good run into the playoffs. So
Right.
I mean, it didn't hurt them that bad. But I mean, and that rivalry's picked back up.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge when I was in school. I mean, absolutely, you hated them to the point like, I mean, there's still disdain that I have for that place over there. But I mean, I've gotten over it. I'm 43 years old. It's okay.
And you work for YSN.
But then Crestview became that rival for a while because Springfield wasn't a rival for after you beat them so long. Like they say, is it really a rivalry if the other team's not winning? So then it turned over to Crestview, and Crestview was huge for a long time because those were two big schools that went at each other. And now it's kind of converted back over to Springfield because, I mean, now the communities are so close and like it's going to be a great game. I mean,
I used to beat my rival so bad that now I call all their games.
This is just turning into a chest pounding conversation. This is what this is turning into. I'm sure there's going to be 35 emails as soon as we hang up here.
I'm actually.
See you Friday, LeBray.
I have a question that Quinn and I actually brought this up when we were down in Florida, and I'm kind of actually curious to hear Paul and Billy Mack. I kind of already know Billy Mack's freaking response, but is coaching a talent?
A talent?
Yes.
Talent?
Yes. Is coaching a talent? Like, can
Absolutely.
you be a gifted coach?
Yes.
Yes.
100%. 100%. Because in my opinion, if you can't like relate to the kids a little bit and know how to steer them in the right direction, then I mean, honestly, it becomes daddy ball.
Time out. Before you go in depth in this, let's take a break because this is going to be a hot topic when we come back. That way we can get our break out of the way. We can answer like Rob saying 100%. Yes, it is talent. We're going to talk about EB. Thank you. Great topic. Is coaching a talent? We'll talk about that when we come back. And we will have the thing that is yet to be named. Good news, bad news, because we don't have a sponsorship for it quite yet. So we're going to talk what's your good news or bad news of the day, brought to you by YSN, because we can pay our own bills sometimes. We'll be back right after this on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by our great sponsors. By the way, if you want to become the formerly known as G. Burbick Farms, what's your beef, what's your filet, give Matt a call, give us a call, contact us today at ysnlive.com. Be back after this.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
We are there in your community. Small business owners, mechanics, police officers, homemakers. And we are there serving our nation in the Air Force Reserve. When medical emergencies arise, in cybersecurity, when natural disasters happen, we are there in space. We are Reserve Citizen Airmen, and we are there with over 180 different jobs to serve your country. Air Force Reserve.
Come see one of the Valley's hidden gems. The Back Nine Bar and Grill on the Berlin Lake Golf Club is the perfect place for fellowship, fame, food, and fun. Check out our daily specials and ask about memberships. The Back Nine Bar and Grill on Hartzell Road in North Benton. Back on the YSN Power Hour, DJ Yoakley, we got McNuggies, we got Jeffrey, we got Franklin, we have Paul Munson, and we have EB. And EB brought the great topic up, is coaching a talent? And Paul, you were talking about it before the break. You say yes.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, because if you don't know how to deal with the personalities, with the different kids that you're going to teach and coach over the next X amount of years, however you're going to do it, or whatever sport you're involved in, then I mean, like I said, then it just becomes like daddy ball, where anybody thinks they can do it, and then are you really successful at doing it? and can do it. Not everybody can get out there in front of kids and teaching at. I'm going like.
Is this me?
I got it too.
Okay. Thank the Lord.
He's breaking up. I want my money back.
AOL lag today.
Are we sure he's on his laptop?
Call him, see what happens.
A little spike. He got a little spike.
Girls, get off the internet. Daddy's trying to do a show. Oh, there he goes. Hey, he just disappears. Shocker. Mac, does coaching, is it a talent?
No. I don't think coaching is a talent. I think there's talented coaches, but I don't think coaching is a talent. I think you start with like just the number of coaches. It's infinite, right? I mean, there's coaches at every level of every sport. There's just so many. I don't think it is. I'm not going to argue with what Paul said. Paul was trying to break down basically saying, you got to be able to do a lot of different things. You got to wear a lot of different hats. You got to deal with emotions and issues that sometimes the parents, you have to basically be a parent to some of these kids. And I won't argue any of that. I mean, every coach has gone through that, but I don't think coaching is a talent. I think there's talented coaches, and I think there's a big difference in the two.
Okay. Jeffrey, your thoughts?
I think it's a talent because you could be, not the most talented player on like playing like football, baseball, basketball, but you can know the game so well that you're talented at coaching kids up to play at a different level than you could have played at. So I think it's a talent. There's some skill level involved in it too, like Billy said, and I just think it's more how good, like Paul said, how good you can relate to the kids and be with them more than be a strict coach.
To the coach's son.
I think that it depends on what you consider a talent, because to be a great coach, I mean, you have to know your players inside and out. You have to know what their tendencies are. You have to know what they're good at and what they're bad at, what your entire team needs to work on. And if you consider more like knowledge and just IQ of the sport like talent, then yes, coaches are talented. But if you don't consider that talented, because that's the main part of coaching, like in my opinion at least, like knowing what to do, knowing what your players are, knowing your players, knowing what drills to do, knowing how to get the best out of your team. The knowledge part of the game, if you consider that a talent, then yes, coaches are talented.
But you can argue that is just experience, though.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. So I'm going to consider it not a talent.
Experience would I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. But
doesn't it take talent to get experience, though?
No, because everybody can be a coach.
I mean, I'm not talented, and I played the game of basketball for 6 years now. I have no talent.
I mean, Jeff has never played lacrosse, but he can apply to be a lacrosse coach and probably start a lacrosse team.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Might lose all our games. But
you just go 1-9 and beat your rival, and you're good.
No, I would look at the kids and be like, "You all suck."
That's
for the 1-9 tennis this year. Thank you.
We're 1-9.
This
Get
one's
off
on
my
you,
team.
Billy. This one's on you, Franklin. This one's straight up on you. I'm going to go with I think coaching is an extreme talent because it's a bunch of different talents mixed into one punch bowl and then stirred up. I mean, you talk about leadership, dedication, qualification from a standpoint of being able to get to that point. I think that most coaches are qualified, if not sometimes overqualified for their positions that they have in whatever sport or whatever endeavor they have. Coaches, especially coaches of good programs, you'll find have a lot of great coaches and great talent around them, which in turn, talent attracts talent. Does that make sense? So if you're around talent, if you're a talented person, you want to be around talented people in order to kind of let your light shine a little bit brighter. So I think coaching is an extreme talent, because if you're not talented enough to be a coach or a head coach or whatever that is, you're not in coaching very long at all. EB, I'm letting you put the bow on this because you brought it to the table, buddy.
I mean, I was always curious about this, and Quinn and I have talked about it. Chris Huxell and I have talked about this, and Paul mentioned something to where it turns into daddy ball or something like that. And my rebuttal to that is how many talented teams coached by dads in the youth programs or really anything have had a major part of success or a lot of success. And there's actually quite a few of them. So does that make them, non-talented coaches because they're dads or not? And I don't necessarily, we dove down the path of, okay, so maybe it's a talent, but do you have gifted coaches then? And you start to look at it, and if you have a program, we'll say basketball, you play 22 games, 23 minimum now in Ohio, and you take a program that wins 2 games the year before, and then they win 5, are you considered talented? Because you increase 3 games. I kind of side with, Billy Mack a little bit to where is coaching a talent? Not necessarily, because you can have a lot of great teams that make coaches look very good. Now, I think coaches are talented if they build programs, and where that all breaks down is they have great communication skills. So I kind of agree with a little bit. I'm gonna be the fence sitter here, to where, is it a talent? Sure. I mean, as a coach, I don't know if I'm all that well talented because I'm not doing anything that hasn't been done before. Drills have all been thought of before, plays, X's and O's, all that stuff. I think where I separate myself a little bit from, others is I'm a good communicator and I'm a people person, which might show that I have maybe more talent. And I don't even know if it's saying that I have talent at all. But when you think of it, like a basketball player, LeBron James is talented. Christian McCaffrey is talented. They are gifted people. But I've never, you've never sat there and found a coach per se that was like, well, he's just a great coach. It's generally, when it comes down to coaching, I don't know if it's a talent, but they're a great communicator and they're a great teacher. So, I'm kind of in between all of it. And what sparked it up was we were talking South Range, Springfield, and Coach Yeagley, and arguably one of the greatest coaches, not in our area but the state. Mm-hmm. And do you sit there and is it because he's talented as a coach, or is it because he's talented as a communicator? And I think a lot of times it's the communication, because you have to get people to believe and buy into what you're selling. So it was just something that I was kind of curious of all the opinions.
It was great. It's a great topic. I think 2 great topics today. One of them being the would you rather, and then this one. Let's just face it. I mean, everybody that's watching knows that the next 3 to 4 months is going to be heavy football. Thursday, Friday, and into Monday as we recap it. So it's good to have this kind of final week of interesting conversation that people can chime in. So EB, great job. Great job. Great play on that. Who is the most talented coach that you know? Like that you've actually bumped elbows with or been a part of their program? Are there any? I mean, Mike, you better answer one guy and one guy only from that standpoint. I'm just kidding. You've had a lot of great coaches, I can imagine. Mine's already been said. It's Dan Yeagley, and he never coached me a down in my life. But he's just being around him, watching what he does, the leadership that he shows, the people again that he surrounds himself with. They have to kind of fall in under what his beliefs are. So I go Coach Yeagley 100% of the time, just because of who he is, what he stands for, and what he's meant to me as a kid who was East Palestinian and never even played it down for him. Jeffrey, I'm guessing you're on the same wavelength?
Yeah, just got to play for Coach for 4 years and just watch how he demanded respect and demanded you to carry yourself a little different way. And, we didn't have single-digit numbers because his motto was, it's not about me, it's about we, it's about us. And if you're not going to buy in on that, and I've seen Coach Yeagley tell kids this right to their face, kid quit, came back, and was demanding playing time, and Coach goes, no, I'm not doing that to you. You gave up on us. Why would I trust you? And Coach is one of the best, is the best coach in my mind in South Range history, and far from everybody else. And so, yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Mike, how about you?
Other than my father, I'm probably. I think I'm going to go with my current high school basketball coach right now, Nick Miller. The way he's really changed the culture of Beaver Local basketball. I mean, nobody really thought about Beaver Local as kind of like a basketball school, but now, last season varsity finished right around 500, and we consider that a disappointment of a season when for a few years before he got to the program, a 500 season was not all that bad. I mean, he's built a culture at Beaver Local. He's demanded respect, just as Beto said about Coach Yeagley. And he's really brought us together in like that family aspect of a team. And, his knowledge of the game for a 25-year-old is insane. I mean, he has a lot of knowledge about the game of basketball, about who's played this game and how to play the game the right way. He knows his players very well. He knows their tendencies, and he knows how to, build the team in a way that's going to put them in the best position to succeed, as opposed to, the team not being that way. Just, we run this offense for 5 straight years, so you're going to learn it and you're going to have to play a certain position. No, he changes offenses. He adds offenses and defenses to play to the players' strengths. And, he's probably one of the smarter coaches I've ever had the pleasure of playing for, again, aside from my dad, because I don't want to get beat tonight.
Oh, there it is. Paul, welcome back. Let me unmute you for a second. Go ahead. Who is the most talented coach you've ever worked with?
Wow. Most talented coach I've ever worked with. I mean, I know the coach that's probably worked the hardest that I've worked with. I've been blessed to be at South Range, for all my coaching career. So, Hannick. Hannick is one of the hardest working coaches. I mean, he does so much research on skills and drills and different things and what this can help this kid do. He really dives into baseball 1,000%. And, he's that way. I mean, and obviously if I, go to the football side of it, it's Yeagley. He's revered in the area for a reason. So, hardest work, and I think it would definitely be Hannick.
I like that. Billy, you?
Man, there's so many. It's so weird for me to answer this question because I've, as a player, growing up, it was important. A coach told me one time, he goes, no coach is ever perfect, doesn't know everything. You should take little bits and pieces from everybody that you come in contact with and then make it your own. And you should do the same thing as a coach. And I kind of lived by that motto as a coach and once upon a time as a player. And I think the one that kind of stands out to me in my mind, it wasn't so much the success that I had, but even when we coached together down the road, the guy just had a magic 8-ball. And he always just seemed to know when to change the momentum of the game or to lay a sacrifice bunt down, or he always had the right thing to say to you when you were just about on the edge of like going insane because you couldn't find a way to hit the ball or whatever. And Vic Romack was that guy. He was a travel ball coach for me for a couple of years. And he actually wasn't even my coach to start. He was my brother's. And then he became our coach in high school. He always just had the right words to say to get you motivated. He trusted you when you needed, a little bit longer of a rope to do some things. And that was, to me, that's probably, if we had to identify talent for me, that would be my opinion.
Love it. Emo says, Matt, after Friday night with the starters not showing up, showed us a lot about Sebring. I keep hearing Sebring in a lot of people's, I don't want to say memoirs, in a lot of people's mouths and coming out of their mouth as one of these surprising teams this year. That's exciting. That's exciting not only for us, but that's exciting for Sebring because they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. All right, EB, most talented coach you've ever been able, and you've got quite the resume of coaches that you've been bumping elbows with.
Yeah, I see Amo. He throws out Walt the Shields and he's a great coach. And I think of just the coaches that I've been able, not necessarily part of the programs, but just get to know or pick their brain or even speak to. Two always stick out to my mind. And one was, he was actually my 8th grade coach, but his name was His name was Ben Shaw, and he was probably the best basketball coach to not only teach you the game, the X's and O's, but he was always teaching you why you were doing it and how it was going to help you. And really, he broke down almost like how people would react. And I took a lot of it. He taught, me and us when I was a player, at that time, and try to translate it the best that I can. And then, from a football standpoint, I've been fortunate enough to be in a couple of different locker rooms, and I know a lot of these guys. But probably the best football coach that I know would be Paul Julia, and not just for what he's done as of late at Latonia, but what he did at Crestview and then Poland before that. There's not a better motivator around to where he gets you to believe in yourself when you didn't even think you could do it, and he just has a way to really push you past that mental capacity of thinking that you can always do more. So those will probably be my two.
I went to school with Ben. Ben was a really smart basketball guy. He was, even when he played, like he knew what was going on the floor for all 5 guys. So he was a really smart guy when it came to that basketball.
Yeah, he's unfortunately he doesn't help, but like he made the jumps, and he's actually probably the one who turned, and this was back in the early 2000s. Now, you had some talent coming up, and the girls in my class were very, very talented, but he single-handedly probably started to turn the girls' program around to where now it's turned in an expectation of what they should, really accomplish just about year in, year out.
What's a position you guys think of in playing sports that you think most good coaches come from? Like a good pedigree. It could be any sport, but like when you think of, wow, that guy's going to be a coach someday. What position did they play?
Baseball wise, I think it would be a pitcher or a catcher. One of those two, pitchers or catchers. I think because they're involved in every single play, and they have to be smart on like how they're going to deal with a batter. And then also, for on the catching aspect, like you're paying attention to where your defenders are out there, and know that, okay, if I throw the ball to this guy, he's going to make that play for me. So,
Billy, how about you?
The first thing that comes to mind is I think of one of like the greatest managers of all time who was a player is Joe Torre, and he was a utility guy for the Royals. And I think to be a good coach, you don't necessarily have to play the game. But we'll take that out of it just for the argument. Is a guy who could be versatile, who could play multiple positions, has the understanding of it. And the same thing with football. A lot of times you get like a defensive guy, like a Mike Vrabel, who played on the line, played linebacker, played a little safety at times for Ohio State. Like guys like that who can be versatile in spots. And probably similar in basketball, where you get a guy who's versatile, who's a 3, you can play a 2, you can play a 4, and he can step in and guard a big man if they have to. So that would be my that guy's going to be a pretty good coach one day.
Great take. EB?
I can't speak for baseball, but for football, I'd go probably the backup quarterback. Your backup or third string quarterback, and I can take the same way in basketball, where generally it's your 7th or 8th guy. Those are the people who know everything. They're the ones who study the scouting report the hardest. They're the ones, they know your offense in and out. They have to know personnel in and out, and they don't just know first team, but they also know the team, second string, because that's generally who they're with. And those are generally the people who aren't the most talented, because if you ever watch, you guys think like, oh, well, Michael Jordan's going to be a great head coach because he's such a great player, but that's not always going to be true. And this is all hypotheticals, because he was so great, he doesn't know how to teach it. It just became natural to him. So where a lot of those guys who the backups, they're not the most talented. So they have to overcompensate for what they don't make up athletically, and they generally know how to teach it, and they're teaching all positions.
And they always say that Peyton Manning was the best backup quarterback to ever start in the NFL, because he prepares like a backup. Like you talk about, you have to know your offense inside and out. You also, as a scout team quarterback, have to know that opposing offense inside and out, because you're running it as if you were the quarterback of the Eagles or the Niners or whoever it is. Great take. Jeffrey.
I agree with Paul when him saying pitchers are catchers. Would be a great coach because catchers have to watch everything the pitchers are involved. Football wise, I would say a special teams guy. Like if someone playing on the special teams, because knowing the fact that they are the main ones, you can laugh, Paul, but look at Judge, the guy that coaches the Giants, was a special teams coach before he was a head coach, and those are usually the guys that are knowing.
Come on, he got hired because he was a Belichick guy.
Knowing the time left in the game, knowing how many timeouts they got left, to know when to use the timeouts is mainly as that. Basketball wise, maybe a bench guy, maybe a good 6-man could be a good one.
Jeff wants to see a kicker become a head coach.
No, I'm not saying that, but just
Specifically,
team.
named Pat
puncher.
McAfee.
Imagine that, a puncher. Mikey, what are you thinking?
In baseball, I agree with Bill, kind of that utility guy, especially at the high school level, because a lot of these high school players, especially the better players on the team, are playing multiple positions. Like the best player on our team a year ago was a senior graduated, Ryan Cunningham. He played pitcher, catcher, second base, shortstop, and he played a little bit of center field too. And he was probably the most knowledgeable player on our team about the game, him or Dylan Moore. And he played infield and outfield too, specifically shortstop and center field. But yeah, in baseball, more the utility guy. In basketball, I'd say kind of like a stretch 4 or a big man that can do more than just post up and guard the big. Nathan Barber, again, another senior that just graduated, the most knowledgeable player on our team. He was a stretch 4. He could handle the ball. He could guard a big. He could guard a 1 or a 2 defensively. And he shoot a 3 a couple times, but mainly he was a big man. And on from the basketball side, the more knowledgeable players that I've had the luxury of playing with are big men, because big men aren't so necessarily skilled or talented, I should say, naturally gifted. They learn it. They're fundamentally sound. They're just skilled. They, build off of each other. They're more skilled players than just naturally gifted. So I think that makes them more knowledgeable in the game of basketball, if you know what I'm saying. And that those would make the better coaches in my mind.
I'm trying to remember a pitcher, and help me if I'm blanking on this, that is in the big leagues right now as a manager. Pitchers typically don't do that, right? It's usually the catchers, and you think Coco Crisp with the scrappers, a lot of middle infielders. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily the guy. I think somebody said this, and I apologize for not remembering who said it. It's not the guy with the most talent. It's the guy that oftentimes has to work the hardest, because they understand that when you make that jump from player to manager or player to coach, that you have to learn how everybody else kind of functions more than yourself. You have to know that you can keep up with everybody. But Joe Torre was a great example. Utility player, guy that could play anywhere, but you can also relate to everybody on the field. And I think point guard in basketball to me makes the most sense. I think we've seen the most point guards, especially lately, make that jump into the coaching, head coaching especially. So I'll be interested. I just always wondered, when you look at offensive linemen, I think are also very good, because they have to know every spot on that line, who's blocking who and all that stuff. So, but I'm agreeing with the backup quarterback for football. So
Tommy Lasorda.
Was he a pitcher?
Yeah, he was a pitcher.
Interesting.
The Mets hired one. Their most recent manager was a pitcher too.
Luis Rojas?
Bob Lemon.
Where did he coach?
Yeah. Let's see here. He managed the Royals and the White Sox, and then the Yankees as well. Yankees have a handful of them that are former guys that pitched for them and then came in.
Well, it's because they probably have relationships with the.
And this is where you come down that coaching is not always a talent, because if you can buy your team and you just put the best talent around you, you can be whatever you want to be.
It says 48 former big league pitchers have gone on to become big league managers. Mickey Callaway for the Mets was the 49th.
I don't know if that's high or low.
Yeah, he was the pitching coach for the Indians when they went to the World Series.
I would think it's low. I mean, if you think about it, 48 managers, and think about how many turnovers there are.
Oh, that's because pitchers are only used to working 1 day a week. So
yeah, out of former players, I would say it's probably low.
let's call this, just for today, let's give some love to our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric and my good friend Eric Carlson. What's your spark? That could stick. I might have to make a phone call. What's your spark? What pisses you off that sparks you and drives you nuts? Or what sparks you and gets you excited about where you're at in the world today? Let's start with McNuggies. What do you got?
It's going to be a thumbs down spark. Yesterday, had the Buckeye 8 golf tournament out at Cadiz, and the weather could not have been worse. I think we got 7 holes in. We played the last 2 in a monsoon, and I was not playing that bad. I was actually happy with where I was. And then we finish up the 7th hole that I was on. I think it was 17 on the course. And one of the coaches comes down, hey, back into the clubhouse. And now we got to restart next week. I forget the date, but we got to restart the whole thing next week. I was playing so well for my standards, and I know the bar isn't very high to say the least, but I was playing pretty well, I thought, and now we got to restart. So.
Love it. All right, Jeffrey, what do you have?
Mine is with people staring at people talking to themselves sometimes. Like, I do that a lot. I talk to myself. So stop staring at me, people. I'm not crazy. I just have to talk to myself for a second. That's mine.
Let's follow this up.
My spark is chaos. I thrive in it. I appreciate it. I love it. And other people seem to absolutely hate it around me. And I just don't understand why they just don't enjoy the chaos like I do.
You are Mr. Chaos, Captain Chaos. EB?
See, my spark? I mean, nothing so far this week. I'm going to go do this weekend. Saturday, DJ, you and I got to hang out. We got to hang out with our buddy G. Burbick and watch a little Beatles Mania. And, just from there, getting to, you got to meet some of my friends or my business friends. And it was nice to kind of get you guys connected a little bit. And really, it was just a good, good Saturday night. Had a couple of adult beverages and got to hang out a little bit.
Yes, we had a couple, and my wife had a couple, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Paul?
Obviously, I mean, today, shit, my spark's been technology. I don't know what the hell happened. Home computer shut down. I was trying to watch it on my phone, then it shut down. I mean, our Facebook page shut down for a little bit, and I wasn't able to watch it there. I don't know what the hell's going on. Sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it. It's a spark on both ends for me right now, but I got my laptop, so it's up and running, so I'm okay.
Attaboy, Paulie. Way to get it done. My spark brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. I hate to piggyback off of EB, but it was a great weekend. A little bit of a date night on Saturday nights. My wife let her hair down a little bit, maybe a little bit too much in some capacities, but she had fun. She had a great time. Got to watch this Beatles Mania Magic, which we've never seen before. If you ever have a chance to see them, definitely do so. And we got to hang out at Firestone Farms, which is one of my favorite places in the world. So that is my spark, brought to you by Joe Dickey Electric. I'll tell you what, it's DickeyElectric.com. Just go there. If you need anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, Joe Dickey Electric, proud sponsor of your sports network. Gentlemen, any final thoughts before we pack it up for the day?
We need a noise for Joe Dickey. Like, we need a zap.
Football coming.
Baker Mayfield stinks.
It's a good take. Hot take. Kids just not showing up for games. Come on, where's the dedication and drive? Amo is on Pfizer right now, I think. I don't. Well, I'll have to call him up and ask him what he's talking about. But he thinks it has something to do with a purple and gold team. We'll figure it out. Anything? Any last comments? We're already in OT. We taking a knee on it?
Just get ready.
Oh, gosh.
Pigskin's coming.
The stomach's already churning, boys. Stomach's already churning. All right. Join us tomorrow, Wednesday, for our YSN Power Hour, 3 to 4, each and every day, right here on YSN. We'll see you tomorrow.